Welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, a weekly show helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. Today, episode 319, Allow Yourself to Dream Big. And now, Experience of the Soul.
Hello and welcome to the Experience of the Soul podcast channel. My name is Cynthia Alice Anderson. I am the host, and I'm here today and excited to be here today with my producer.
Good morning, everybody. Sean Kilgore here. Happy to be here with you for another episode of Experience of the Soul podcast. We are in episode 319, and today we're talking about allowing yourself to dream big. But of course, as always, before we get to the meat of the episode, we want to do a couple shout outs here. So we are shouting out to YouTube user Nicole Menschel, who just 2 weeks ago made a really nice comment saying, I appreciate these weekly talks. They have been my morning or evening work commute companion for all 300 plus episodes.
Wow.
Which is awesome. That just gave me chills just saying it out loud. That's really cool.
I know,
Thank you,
it made me cry. Nicole,
Nice.
That is amazing. You guys are the best. And thank you so much. I think you are still in Florida. You'll have to tell me where you are now, but we kind of loosely keep in touch, but she's also on the network with us, and that's super nice. I love how it doesn't really even exactly matter where you live. We're so connected through the show and through the social media. It just feels like she's next door, so that's kind of cool.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, it's a beautiful thing about the community too, is that you know, we don't necessarily all have to be together to really support each other on a regular basis now.
That's right. I just had a reach out today from somebody all the way across the country, and it was like we were in the same room. We're connected that way. And so thank you, Nicole, for those words. And I'm honored really to be able to support you that much. And if there's anything more we can do, please reach out. If there's a topic you'd like me to hear more about, I think sometimes, the feedback is very helpful because, our listeners and our viewers can be going through something, and there's kind of cycles that we seem to go through together. Like, a lot of America right now is embroiled in the elections and in terms of who's running for office and all that. And so I'm really, in response to that, focusing on the individual and what we're capable of doing as a way to, keep us focused on our passion, our mission, our goal, our vision for our life. Because I think that's largely distracting a lot of people. Anyway, all that said, if there's something we can do, let us know. And if I need to shine the light a little bit different direction, it might help us serve even more people.
Absolutely. And definitely keep letting us know if there's something that you want to hear Cynthia Alice talk about. We've gotten some great suggestions so far, and we want you to know that we've heard those suggestions and we are working with those, and we hope to bring you that content soon. But definitely keep those ideas coming. Anything you want to hear us address, we're gonna get to it. Right?
Well, absolutely. And I love our shout out that we're doing today too to Kalkaska, Michigan.
Yeah. This is really fun looking up these different areas where the podcast gets downloaded and get to actually look into some of these towns. I really enjoy it. We were having fun earlier before we came on the air researching Kalkaska, Michigan.
Yeah, it's the home of the Trout Festival that started in 1935.
Oh, nice. The National Trout Memorial. There's a place called Dingman's Bar. Lamberson's Antique and Gift Shop. It looks like a great town. It really does.
Yeah, it looks great. It's like what we said last week. These smaller towns tend to be more community focused. They tend to be safer. There's only a couple thousand people. I think just over 2,000 people. It went up a whole 80 people in 10 years or something like that. But looks like a really sweet place. We're honored to support your journey. And I'm thinking you're up near Lake Michigan, which I've heard I've never been in that region. And I have heard that lake is so gorgeous. And somebody once gave me a stone that's only found in that region. A lady gave it to me off her altar, and I still have it.
Oh, wow.
The people from Michigan listening probably know. I can't remember the name of the stone, but it's got these certain markings on it. Anyways, quite distinctive. So I know it's a beautiful part of the world, and I've heard that Lake Michigan, it feels like the ocean. It's so big.
Yeah, Lake Erie is very similar. That's where close to where I grew up. My grandparents
right.
lived on Lake Erie for most of the time I was growing up, so I spent a lot of time up there on the water. And it is, I mean, it definitely feels like the ocean is huge and vast, and
Yeah. Well,
And-
that is awesome. What were you going to say, Sean? I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, I was just going to continue with
Okay.
adjectives about the water.
Well, we love you and I both really love the water. And, we always, growing up in Georgia, we always came to Florida, and I think I've always loved the woods, but somehow in the last couple of years, my love of the water has really, really grown. It would be hard for me, I think, to live a place without water. I lived in Seattle and I loved it there for different reasons. And anyway, yes.
Did you enjoy the rain? Because it rains a lot there, right?
Oh, yes, it does rain 9 months out of the year in Seattle. Yeah.
But you enjoyed that?
Oh, I loved it. But it was a light rain, and that's why everything was so beautiful there. One time a few years ago, I went back, I was doing some deep therapeutic work and with a former therapist of mine, and to stay, I decided I would do something real different. And I stayed in a houseboat Airbnb.
That's cool.
What a blast. And the reason I'm saying all that is the rain being on the water and in that boat, it just felt kind of magical because it was like I was in the rain, but I wasn't in the rain, and the sound and, no TV or anything. And you could just hear the waves kind of lapping against the boat. It was just really special.
That's beautiful. Yeah, that sounds like I would love that. Yeah.
Oh, right. And it was pretty crazy. It was only like $100 a night.
Wow.
You can't find anything in Seattle for $100 a night. I mean, it's $400 or $500 a hotel that's decent, So I was like, well, I wonder if Airbnb has anything. And I was like, this is a score. I don't know.
Big time.
Right on Lake Union is where I stayed. So anyway, beautiful, beautiful country. Yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah. Well, we're excited to get into today. This is a topic I love. So Sean, one more time, it helps me center to hear the date and the title of the show one more time.
Absolutely. Today is Monday, July 29th. This is episode 319 of the Experience of the Soul podcast. Allow yourself to dream big.
Boom, baby. I love this idea. Somebody told me recently, I love this idea so much because I'm not only an Aquarius, evidently I'm a triple Aquarian, whatever that means. You astrology people will know. But I love big ideas. I love to dream big. And what I found is that allowing yourself to dream big can be extremely awakening. It can be exciting. It can really bring a lot of fun and a lot of joy to the journey because what I've discovered with all the people I've worked with over the years and in teaching my course, Dream Big, Live Big, is that most of us were not allowed to dream big. As a matter of fact, in some cases, to our families and to the people that loved us, it almost felt scary somehow. It's like, no, you stay in your lane. Don't dream too big. Just keep it simple. And so what a lot of us did as kids is we said, oh, maybe I shouldn't dream big. Not consciously, of course, but we said, when I try to have real big ideas, something happens and I don't get the response I want. So maybe I should just kind of just go ahead and get my job or whatever. So in other words, we've limited ourselves. It was also part of how the personality was created. And I've talked about that many times. And I think it bears repeating because sometimes we say, well, why am I not, dreaming bigger? Well, I mean, there is a reason. One is life has taught us some lessons. We've learned that not every grand idea is going to manifest. We've also been told that, it's irresponsible, in fact, to dream big. You need to just pay your bills. I've counseled many, many people over the years who say, I wanted to go out and be a musician. I wanted to go out and do this. I wanted to go out and do that. And, I felt like instead I should just get a job and that would make everybody happier. That would be safe. And then, 20 years later, they say, I hate my life. I hate my job and I want out. And so we talk about these things so that you don't get to that point. I don't want you to feel like you're just existing. I don't feel like you're just surviving. I want you to have the permission to dream big. And I think that's largely what today is about, giving myself permission, allowing myself to dream big. Several weeks ago, I think it was around July 4th, because I love to ask myself this question every year around the time we were celebrating the 4th, because in the U.S., it's about a celebration of freedom, right? Our country's independence and all that. And as we celebrate it, we always ask that question, if I were really free, where would I be in 1 year? And that's the kind of question that starts moving us toward dreaming big. So in today's show, I want you to just think about and acknowledge in yourself ways that you have limited your path, your journey, by not allowing yourself to dream big. Like, what is possible for me is the question. And in the course, when I teach it, what's interesting is people will come back after a week, because I give them an assignment, and they'll come back after a week and they'll say to me, it was so freeing to just write down everything I wanted, just to write it down, like to give it voice. And so that's what I'm talking about when I'm saying dream big. It's like, give those desires voice. Let them breathe air. Don't just keep it locked in, but start to speak that aloud and give yourself permission to dream big. Now, as I say all this, I've also learned that not every dream that we dream is necessarily even supposed to manifest. But I know that allowing myself to dream pulls me forward in a beautiful way, because it ignites my excitement, it ignites my energy, it ignites my passion, my love of what I do and what I'm bringing into the world right now. And so I love to dream big, but I can still see places in my very own life where I have not allowed it. So as I give this show today, it's as much for me as it is for you to remind myself it's really okay to dream big. It's really okay to dream big. How am I limiting myself? How is the way I'm thinking about this limiting? Am I allowing myself to dream big? Simply being in this practice could be a catalyst for your healing, because a lot of our limits, some are self-imposed, yes. Some are imposed from the outside and how we took those messages in. And we, learned we should do things, we shouldn't do other things. And those beliefs became how we walk through the world. So what we're seeking to do is to find out, are my beliefs, is this way I'm walking through the world really what I am meant to do and be? Is that what I'm meant to do and be? Am I treating my life and my dreams as if they are a calling, or as if they're a nuisance and need to be shoved aside? So Charles Fillmore, Unity's co-founder. So I'm a Unity minister, for those of you new to the show. And in Unity, we study a lot of what the founders have to say because of their miraculous healings and how they were able to accomplish so much through their faith in God. And one of the things Charles Fillmore, the co-founder, his wife is Myrtle Fillmore. Charles Fillmore said, desire is the onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul. I'm going to say that one more time. Desire is the onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul. Now, as we talk about this, I want to be very clear that there is holy desire and there are low or high vibe desires, or there are low vibe desires, often called some people would just call it human nature, but in other words, those desires that are not for our highest good. For instance, if you are an addict of any kind, you always have a desire to use, but clearly that is not a high level desire or a godly desire. That's a very human desire to stop the pain from happening, right? That's basically why we have addiction, is to stop the pain. We can't deal with reality as it is. So by God, we're going to stop it. Right? So if you're in addiction, let's say your addiction is to alcohol and all you want to do is drink. Well, is that a higher desire and is that dreaming big? Of course not. No. But what I know happens is when we have a low level desire, a very human desire, then when we don't go towards it, something new is born, and this desire for the higher, for the spiritual, for the God awareness begins to come forward. So the desire I'm speaking of is the desire to know more of God, the desire to bring our passion, our energy into the world, our desire for goodness, for wholeness, for peace, our desire to bring a great dream we've been dreaming into the world to bless and help humanity, or in the particular field in which we work. So think about that. Think about that. Am I in this kind of lower desire, or am I in the higher desires as I'm dreaming big? I also, at the very beginning of thinking about this, of praying about this, I wouldn't worry too much about it. I would just simply write down what it is you're dreaming about, and then let that spiritual aspect of you, that discernment piece, really help you differentiate from what is my soul desire, what is this higher desire, and what are just things I want that can be pushed aside because, frankly, they're getting me off track. Yeah. So being able to differentiate what is my higher desire, my high vibe, my soul desire, and kind of the human aspects is going to be very, very critical, very important on your process to bring more good, more love, and more God into the world. So ask yourself, am I allowing myself to dream big? Or am I allowing my limited thinking to get in the way and block these larger dreams, goals, desires, and intentions? I think this is an extremely important question to ask. I mentioned earlier that in the US right now, there's a lot of energy around our political leaders. And what I'm super clear about is that how we make a difference in our political system, how we make a difference in who leads the country, is by our own self-work, and then allowing that self-work to inform how we vote, how we walk through the world. Voting is simply a manifestation of our dreams, goals, desires, awareness. And our leaders are simply a reflection of where we are as a culture at large. And so what's happening right now is people are getting so mad at the quote unquote other side that we are missing out on our call to move forward in our own dreams, goals, and desires. We're wasting energy. We are getting angry about things we can do nothing about. And what we're really being called to do is to dream big, bring our own dream, our own passion, our own energy into the world, and that'll lift people. As people feel lifted, as people feel supported, as people feel blessed, life begins to change for the better. So rather than looking out at our leaders and saying everything wrong with them all is the better use of our energy is to ask, how am I to dream my dream? How am I to grow? How am I to move my soul forward? And that becomes the focus, the energy, the consciousness that really drives us rather than the news of the day. Friends, the news of the day is going to bring you down. It's actually kind of programmed that way, it seems. And what we're trying to offer is a different way of walking through the world, that we want to walk through the world on purpose. We want to walk through the world as souls. We want to be awake. We want to be enthusiastic. We want to be bringing joy into our life, into our family, into the places we work. Well, to do that, you've got to be on purpose. And to do that, it helps if you allow yourself to dream big. Because when you dream big, friends, you are believing in your capacity to do something great. You are believing in yourself in the capacity to do something great. Frankly, you are loving yourself as you allow yourself to dream big, because it's honoring to listen to that inner voice and then seek to move that message out into the world. And you don't have to be a minister or somebody that speaks publicly. When I say move it out into the world, I mean embody it. Embody it. And I have to admit, Sean, I don't think I've ever told you this before, but there are a couple of reality shows that get me every time I watch them because of how the souls on the show grow and expand when they're allowed to dream bigger about themselves. I don't know if you've ever experienced that in one of those shows, but I love it.
Survivor.
Oh, yes, Survivor. You're a Survivor.
I'm a huge Survivor fan. I think it might be the only show I've never missed an episode of since the very beginning. But yeah, that's what I love about it. Not only do they change it up every year, so you're not watching the same show every year, but the growth that people go through when you're not eating, when you're forced to play this social game and try to be your best and try to also, there's a lot of deceit and stuff
of course
that's
there's a lot of
game.
There's a lot of humanness in it, but yeah
but even this past season there was a gentleman on there who he just could not lie. He just couldn't bring himself to do it.
He couldn't lie.
No, yeah, he got a couple weeks in and he got himself so worked up and so torn up and upset about the fact that this game is about ultimately deceiving the other people. Yeah. And so he didn't last very long. But
well, one of the ones I was watching, and I can tell you, I've never in my life talked about a reality show on this show, but because I'm always like, turn off your TV. So, but to me, these are so fun. One was called Next in Fashion. And, and you would never imagine I would enjoy fashion, but I do. And I love the creativity of it. And there was somebody on one of the shows. She had literally only started sewing like 4 years earlier. Now, she didn't make it to the end, but to watch in a few weeks her growth and why the growth happens, I've noticed, is because somebody is finally believing in them. Somebody is finally saying, oh my gosh, you can do this. And so they're like, well, maybe I can. And then they have to face their limits. And so this is what I'm talking about for us spiritually. And it includes it for me. It always includes the emotional and often the career, because mostly how we walk through the world, at certain ages is through our work, And so I don't know. I just hope it was making sense. I thought I knew you watched one, but honestly, I didn't remember it was Survivor. That's so funny.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't really watch much, but I did love Project Runway. I don't know if you watched that.
I didn't watch that one. Oh, that one of those creeped me out and I had to turn it off.
Okay. Understood.
There are certain things that are kind of creepy to me. I'm like, that should not be on a body. I don't know why.
Oh, the actual fashion, you mean? That's hysterical.
Oh yeah, I was like, I must have a past life memory that needs healing around this, because I that freaks me out. Beam me up, Scotty. I'm out. I'm out. Yeah, I'm like, yeah. Well, anyway, you get what I mean.
Great. Yeah, totally.
Well, and also for me, what's fun about a show like that, like a Next in Fashion, it's totally different from what I do every day. What I do is so serious and helping people on their journey and everything, that it's fun to just watch somebody go, yes, that's fabulous. Woo.
Yeah. Make some
Yeah.
clothes.
Yeah, make some clothes and make them fabulous. Yes.
Yeah.
But there's always a story of overcoming. And, people tell me, well, those are kind of planned. I said, well, if there were no story of overcoming, we would turn it off, because what we love is somebody making it.
It's very true.
Yeah. I mean, there's something like innately both spiritual and human about the desire to make something of oneself.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
It makes it so that those shows aren't necessarily about the talent that a person might have, but more about what they've overcome in their journey, essentially, to get to the point that they are there. All of those American Idol,
yes.
America's Got
Talent.
Like the more you have, the more challenges you've had, I think the more likely you are to get on the show. And I don't mean that in a, you know what I mean? Like,
well, it's a story. It's a human interest.
You have a story to tell, right? Yes. Yeah.
Yes,
if you had a great childhood, no real drama, and you're super talented, that you may not get there, right? Because you don't really have much to say.
Yeah. I can't remember that actor that basically happened to. He was in that really strange movie that came out, but he basically walked off an airplane. The actress saw him and said, "You're going to be in my movie." I'm trying to think of who that is. I
do remember that story.
What was that movie? He was in that movie Saltburn, which I do not recommend. But nobody sue me. I do not recommend. Well, all right. So, friends, we're back on. I want to get back to the topic, but of course, we never quit talking about it, did we? What we're talking about is allowing ourselves to dream and allowing that dream, that desire, that goal, that intention to pull us forward. And it's so interesting because several years ago I was praying about the right teacher for my son for his instrument. He plays violin, and I come from a really musical family. I have a sister who's a violinist as well, and I know that the right teacher can make or break a player, and sometimes you never get over it if you have a bad one. I mean, I've known so many people over the years who would tell me stories about this bad teacher who just didn't encourage them, and they just couldn't pull themselves out of it. So anyway, I was very conscious of the teacher I got for him, and I called all these teachers. I mean, I must have called 7 or 8 teachers, and it was really interesting. By the time I got to the one that I chose, even when she answered the phone energetically, I knew it was her. But I said, I'm going to keep checking this out. I'm not going to just trust my intuition. I'm going to listen to my intuition, but I'm going to discern, and I want to take him over there, and I'll be in there, and I'm going to see how this first lesson goes. We got to her house, loved the neighborhood, knocked on the door, and we walked in. It felt like we were walking into the home. And during the lesson, she said to my son, who had just barely played, like a couple years, she said to him, "You are going to be amazed at what you can do." And I said, this is the one I want teaching my son, because she's calling him higher. She's calling him higher. And I just felt it. I almost started crying in the lesson because the energetic resonance was so clear. It was like, this is a yes. I got the go signal, and I'm going to be talking about that coming up, by the way, in future shows. So be ready for that, getting the go signal. But everything was in alignment for the go signal, right? And it's been amazing to watch. So he's done very, very well in leadership positions, in his orchestra and everything. And yes, it's his own commitment. Yes, it's his own dedication. But without the right vision of himself, which you can't always get from your parents, you need to get it from other people, So parents out there, listen, we've got to get good supporters for our kiddos so that they realize their goodness and their greatness. And this is what we're still trying to do. So many of the people I work with, and myself included, we're still trying to heal things that happened 20, 30, 40, even 50 years ago. So this is a way, what I'm talking about is a very simple, very grounded way to move your soul journey forward simply by allowing yourself to dream big. And I want you to hear that if if you were growing up and you heard, oh, you can't or you shouldn't, you're in good company. Many of us heard that, but we're grown. We have the capacity to choose again. And just allowing yourself to have this expanded awareness, allowing yourself to listen to that inner desire, to that goal, to that drive, like what's driving you forward. Allow that to come up and out in you. Write it down. Then take it in your prayer time. Literally be conscious about it. Look over it. Think about it. Read it. Pray on it. Ask for signs as you move forward. So we're going to help you over the next few weeks work with this idea. So I want you to just this week, allow yourself to dream big, allow yourself to have these ideas bubble up. And I don't want you to edit, and I don't want you to worry about what if it doesn't happen. I just want you to allow the dream. Because sometimes as we write it down, in 2 or 3 days, we go, oh, you know what? That's an old dream. I don't really want that anymore, but that's sweet that I wanted to do that. And then other things you'll write down, you say, my gosh, I didn't know that dream was still alive in me. Or you'll write something down and think, oh my goodness, this is something new. This is something brand new. Wow, this is amazing. This is amazing. So tapping into your joy, tapping into those, those goals, those intentions, those desires is going to help. But I want you to remember, allowing yourself to dream big is a great way to support your soul's movement, your soul's development. Emotionally, new things may be required of you. Physically, you may have some challenges to overcome, but allowing this dream, dear friends, is going to pull your soul forward. As Charles Fillmore said, desire is the onward impulse of the ever-evolving soul, and this is what we want for you. We want growth. We want prosperity. We want evolvement. So, friends, I thank you very much. Again, our friends in Kalkaska, Michigan. Sorry, friends, I had to look it up to make sure I was getting it right. And to Nicole, thank you so much for listening. We're honored to support your journey. As always, we are blessed to have you along the journey with us. And again, if we can support you better, please let us know. So we look forward to seeing you next week, and blessings on the journey, dear friend.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Experience of the Soul podcast with Cynthia Alice Anderson, helping you grow, prosper, and evolve. This podcast is made possible because of listeners and viewers just like you. If you would like to support the podcast with your tax-deductible contribution on an ongoing basis or through a one-time gift, head on over to experienceofthesoul.com/support. The Experience of the Soul podcast is copyright 2024 Cynthia Alice Anderson, all rights reserved, and is produced by Sean Kilgore. A production of the Soulworks Group, Incorporated. Hey friends, Sean here, your Experience of the Soul producer. I want to take a moment to tell you about something truly exciting. The Soulworks online community, created by your host, Cynthia Alice Anderson, and available on the Mighty Networks app. If you're looking for a place where you can explore your spiritual path, connect with others, and grow in a meaningful way, then this is for you. Soulworks is so much more than an online community. It's a safe, inclusive space for spiritual exploration, self-discovery, and personal transformation. Inside the community, you'll find everything from uplifting spiritual studies to soul-centered growth practices, meditations, affirmations, and so much more. It's a space where you'll always be supported and never judged. The best part, membership is free. You'll have access to powerful resources, inspiring content, and a supportive group of like-minded people who are all on their own unique spiritual journeys. And if you're ready to dive deeper, there are premium options available to enhance your experience, with a live Monday night talk series and extended, deeper meditations. If you're seeking a place to connect, grow, and nurture your soul, we would love to have you join us in the Soulworks community and see where this journey can take you. Visit my.soulworkscommunity.com today.